Welcome to The Buzz. It's another lifestyle edition of On Your Dial, and today is February 29, 2024. It's such an auspicious day. Why? Because we don't have so many February 29. You get what I mean?
Once
like,
in
it
4
comes
years.
every 4 years. So if you go on Google, all right, so the tab, is that what it's called on Google, is actually celebrating today as the leap day. Okay, so it's more like an observation and more like a celebration, especially for those special people who are born on the 29th of February. Okay, you know, like this just brings back some childhood memories. Okay, so then our priest in the church, then I was born and raised a Catholic. Okay, so his name was, I think, Father Ambrose. Can't remember his surname now, but he was Father Ambrose something. God rest his soul. Okay, so he's since passed on at 80 something. But at that time, he was celebrating his 74th birthday or so. And you know, he came to church, everybody was celebrating it, and you know, I'm like, wow, that he saw the posters and it's all wrong. You got my age wrong. I'm only 16 years old. You know, and everybody was confused that what's he talking about? Is it because I celebrate my birthday only every 4 years?
Oh.
So since I was born, this is the 16th birthday.
Wow.
You know, and everyone, you know, started laughing. Okay. And this February 29th thing is always a discussion, you know, as to if you're born on the 29th of February. So other years that are not leap years, what day is the better day for you to actually celebrate your birthday? Is it on the 28th of February or on the 1st of March? You know, so it's an ongoing conversation. I'm still not seeing us coming to an agreement.
There's no agreement.
But I think I'd rather celebrate on the 28th. Because if you push it to the 1st of March, that's like a totally different month
altogether.
All right, but then it's just a special year. All right, so if today is your birthday, happy birthday to you. You are just one of a kind. You are peculiar. You are special. Okay, we wish you the very best. Have a splendid celebration. But if today is just a normal day for some of us who were born in other months that are complete. You get what I mean? Happy leap day to all of us. Okay. So on that note, I welcome you properly to the Buzz this afternoon. It's another time to discuss about family, about life, relationships, and about marriages according to what social media is talking about. My name is Patience. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I'm being joined by two wonderful women who will be lending their perspective to the topics we're discussing this afternoon. And to my immediate left, that's how they say it, right?
Yeah.
It's a pleasure and honor to bring her back on the show. She's a professional counselor. She's also a family marriage and life therapist. It's a pleasure to have Mrs. Abiola Obu right here with us on the show. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy leap day to you.
Happy leap day to you too.
I'm guessing you weren't born on the 29th.
No.
Okay.
Special month.
It's a special month
for me.
Yeah, I had a child born in February, but not on the 29th.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing I didn't do to have that boy on the 14th of February.
Valentine.
I did everything. I was literally hitting my tummy. Like, come out now on Valentine's Day. And this boy just sat. Boom. He just sat there. I remember that day was a Saturday. I came to work that because then I had a Saturday magazine program or so. You know, so after work, you know, I was just all over the place. You know,
working out labor for yourself.
Energy, you know, because my EDD was still like 2 weeks away. So I was like, okay, you know, like all over the place. Then I got home, went and picked up the sister from the daycare, came back home, I made stew, I made soup that day, and none of that
affected.
I didn't want to eat any of that. I wanted bread and tea. And I went and got bread this big. Like, true life story, this is what I'm telling you. I was craving bread and tea. The bread was this big. And then I didn't use a teacup or a mug. You know those bowl. And I made tea. I didn't sit on a chair. I sat on
the floor. Wow, like, pregnancy at the store.
But I just wanted bread and tea in that very local. I sat on the floor, spread my legs like this. and then I was dipping the bread inside the tea. You know that kind of, that was, and then I drank the tea and I slept off. And I'm like, okay, so today's Valentine's Day, I'm not having this baby, at least let me eat bread and tea and I slept off.
What an experience.
12 midnight on the dot. And you know, that plug at the back, at the waist, you know, when they pull it, you know that labor has started. And that sharp pain, I woke up with a scream. And lo and behold, labor started. This boy that I prayed and did everything for him to come out on the 14th. On the 15th. 6 a.m. February 15th. I'm just looking at him like, he's still trying now. Not the extension. Today, of all the names we gave him, he prefers Valentino. Which name? He's the only one who calls himself Valentino. I hear. I refuse to come out. Alright, that's just on the lighter note. Okay, so February for me is a special month too, even though he wasn't born on the 29th, but he's a February baby, and you know that people born in February are really very special people. Honestly, go and do your own research. Anyways, to my right, I have the owner of the program. Patience. How many times did I call you? You be like that 5. Anyways, we like to refer to her as the class prefect of Thursday's edition of the show. She is an award-winning gospel artist. Yes, you get that right. She's also an author of 2 books, 2 wonderful books, and she is a marriage and relationship counselor. Not forgetting to mention she's a minister of God. It's a pleasure to have our own dearest pastor, Dolly, on the program today. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon. Last week you couldn't make it. Because
Nigeria happened to her. Nigeria happened to her.
I sent a private jet to pick you. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Alright, welcome people. Thank you for always joining us on the program. Don't forget the number to use will be on the screen shortly. You can send your comments, your questions, or your contributions via text messages. You can also watch this show live on Twitter, and you can watch a relay on Facebook and excerpts of the program much later on YouTube. Plus, you can watch us on StarTimes, or you can download the Galaxy Television app and you won't miss a thing. Having said that, let's get into our program this afternoon, and of course we're starting with this particular topic that never dies. All right, it is a continuous conversation, the issue of mother-in-laws
and their daughter-in-laws.
Like, I have lost count of how many times we have had to, you know, actually trash this issue. All right, but then it keeps rearing up its head again in different forms. It comes in different scenarios, and this particular scenario is about a newly married woman who devised a very, very clever way of stopping her mother-in-law from bringing food for her husband every weekend. Now, as the story goes on X, formerly Twitter, all right, the newly married woman shared that she just got married and her mother-in-law will always wake up early every weekend to cook and bring food for her husband. Now, so when she noticed this was becoming like a regular thing, she stopped cooking. She stopped cooking entirely during the weekends, and she will not eat anything and wait until the mother-in-law brings, you know, the food she brings for her husband, and then she will join and eat the food in her presence. Yes. And she sometimes, when it's getting to the weekend, she will even be the one to call her mother-in-law and remind her that, "Mommy, don't forget the delicacy that you are bringing this weekend." And not long after that, Mama stopped bringing food altogether. All right, when she noticed that the daughter-in-law was the one eating the food and even requesting for more, she stopped bringing food. Now, this sparked a lot of conversation online, you know, as to how clever, you know, this new bride was in handling the situation and not necessarily, you know, causing any drama or whatever. On the other hand, some people are actually of the opinion that nothing is wrong with a mother who has, spent all her life nurturing a man, to still continue to show love and affection to that child, even though he's married. That nothing's wrong with her bringing food for the husband. Anyways, there'll always be for and against in every conversation. So that's why we're bringing it to the table. Let's discuss mother-in-law etiquette. All right, there are certain rules about being a mother-in-law that a lot of us are flaunting. What are these rules? How do we engage our daughter-in-laws, in a way that it doesn't break family bonds, it doesn't cause unnecessary wahala? All right, so while that conversation is going on the one hand, on the other hand, another video started trending online, even though it's a skit. It is a skit, all right? So whatever you're watching is not real life, all right? But then it just puts more perspective on this issue of mother-in-law that we're talking about. Let's quickly go and see this video, and then we'll come back. Stay with us. The number to use once again will be on the screen. Very interesting video. I tell you once again that is a skit, is not real life, okay? But it paints a very vivid picture of what the reality of some wives are, because of some mother-in-laws who don't know where to start. Anyways, let's have this conversation on mother-in-law etiquette, okay? Especially drawing from the story of that lady
in the video.
Not only in the video, but in the story that we started. Let's start with you, Mrs. Ogu.
I want to say first of all that Africans, we are good at parenting, but we are not too good at de-parenting. Most parents don't know at what point to de-parent.
To stop. But then do you actually stop being a parent?
No, not that you really stop. As they grow, your role now become more of an advisor.
Okay.
You no longer rule or control them like years of grip.
Okay.
But a lot of mothers carry that same power and grip they have over their toddler, even into marriage. And it's so unfortunate that at times emotionally they blackmail those children, and they are caught between the devil and the deep sea, because they don't want to displease my mother, I don't want to displease my wife. Like they say, let them breathe. If your son is getting married, allow him to be married. It's his home. It's a sort of somehow rude, though we are in Africa, rude to come to someone's home and dictate how she should run her home. I've heard of mother-in-laws coming to their son's home and they take charge of the kitchen, as in they determine what happens, and then before you say Jack, they say, it's my son's house. If for a mother who has just a son, I used to tell couples, I say, if you are marrying an only child, you're not marrying him alone, no. You are marrying him and his mother, because it will be difficult for you to say, it's me and my husband alone. This woman all her life has been herself and this guy, and probably she has gone through a lot to make him become who he is before you marry. So it applies wisdom. The lady in our case study today, she's a very wise lady. I think she has a good upbringing and she's well informed. There are battles you fight. It's not everything that comes by war. She did beautifully well, and the mother-in-law too got the message. But there are some also that will not get the message. There are some. And someone will say, well, if she's taking the stress of weekend off me, oh, good and fine, we'll keep eating. But there are some who wouldn't go subtle. There are some who are going to fight, and then the thing escalates and becomes a war. God help you are not from the same tribe. And then you start hearing all kinds of things. I think wisdom, dealing with human being, relationship, once you're married, find out you can't separate them. I happen to be an only child of my mom, and funny enough, she doesn't like my partner, but I have to balance relating with her, relating with him, and then sometimes she will tell you, are you saying you will choose me, or you choose your husband over me? That one a story. What she did was very good. So daughter-in-law should imbibe such wisdom. There are battles you fight, you don't need to say a word. Body language for somebody, these Gen Zs, they don't even know, they don't know that one. But if somebody visits your home and she's not welcome, if I visit you and I'm not welcome, I will know in the first 10 minutes. and you don't need to tell me not to come again. I will just tell my legs, stay in your house. So we need to check them out. Some of them are not wicked. Some are just innocently wrong. They don't know. They thought how it happens back then is applicable now. And what you think as love may become war to somebody.
Exactly.
So some of them are just innocently wrong. But parents should know at what point to draw the line in their relationship with their children.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ogu. And taking it from where she stopped, you know, the fact that tradition, culture has a role to play in all of this, especially us Africans, where it is believed that when a new wife comes in, she's not only marrying the man, she's marrying, in fact, the entire village.
The family.
The entire village.
Our wife.
All right, so how do we begin to drive home this message for mother-in-laws to know exactly, you know, that there are boundaries in the first place?
I think this talking that we are talking, it's one of the ways we are driving it home and making them to understand that, you know, they need to know where to draw the line. You know, because oftentimes most parents, most mothers, they don't allow their children to grow. They believe that he's my child. They see you as a child all your life. Until death do you part,
That is it.
you still remain the child. But we must come to that level where we understand that the child of yesterday is also a parent of today. You were a child, you are now a parent yourself. So, and you don't need to make your child to remain a child, because some of those things you actually do does not allow your child to grow mentally, does not allow your child to mature mentally, because you keep treating him like a child, you keep making him feel that he's a baby and that should be spoon-fed. You must know that it will come to a time, a baby that you are spoon-feeding, it will come to a time you will allow that baby to feed himself. So there must be where to draw the line. I think one of the reasons that always make mother-in-law to have issues with their daughters-in-law is this idea of my competitor has come. Somebody that wants to take what belongs to me from me.
Completely.
Somebody that wants to share what belongs to me from me. You must understand that, yes, you raised your son. A responsible son can never forget that he was raised by his mother. And it is yourself, you the mother, that is going to kind of find your way to the heart of the daughter. I've seen situations where the daughters have better relationship with their mother-in-law than even their mother. I said that about my first daughter. Anytime maybe she's having issues, she's the first person that knows is her mother-in-law that will even call me and say, your daughter be nowhere in the hospital. She won't be the first person to call me. I won't be the first person they are calling. They will call her mother-in-law because she was in Benin there with them. They will call her first because their relationship is so close. Even when I visit them and she's around, they will just peep into the room. Those two sisters, don't they gist again? Do you understand? We have become like sisters, both of us. And both of us are just enjoying our children together. Because at the end of the day, if you try to grab your son and let me keep my son, let nobody share my son from me, you'll be suffering it. It's more, you enjoy it more when you share.
That is it.
When you allow your daughter-in-law to be the new mother, the wife and the new mother to your son. So you just stand and be enjoying the dividend of the fact that you raised a good son. Why will a mother-in-law, for crying out loud, still be cooking from his own? Well, I don't have a problem with it if it is done in good faith. Yes, you can cook from your house. Oh, this is that kind of delicacy, your husband like it. But that should be through the wife, not directly to the son. Yes, through the wife. Your husband like it. Do you like it? I want to prepare it and bring for you people. Yes. Why would you stop bringing it?
Exactly.
And then it's not a weekly thing.
It means your motive was even
wrong from the beginning. Yes.
That is why you stopped when you discovered that she
was eating from the food.
From the food. You didn't want her to eat from the food. So what is in the food that your husband cannot eat from it? You understand? So some of those things we must be very, very careful. Some of these women that are doing this, they have daughters. You expect your daughter to go to a man's house and be treated right
and have peace.
She can have peace because you have sown a seed. You must go and reap what you sow. So you must try as much as possible not to sow bad seed. That girl, oftentimes I tell people, when you marry, your son marries, know that you have
Have another daughter. Another daughter. That is it.
Take her like your daughter. Yes, she's not perfect. There is no perfect human. Even the children that you give
no, of course.
You do have issues with them.
Of course.
Why is it that when you have issue with your daughter-in-law, it's a big thing? You're making it look like, oh, she's so bad, she's a devil. My son has gone to bring devil to the house and things like that. The same thing with the wife too. Mother-in-law does little things. You magnify what the mother-in-law has done as if you have seen a devilish mother-in-law. It shouldn't be. We must try as much as possible to balance this thing. Let equity always play. This way I'm treating this person. I'm going to be a mother-in-law tomorrow. How do I want to be treated? Because some people can be very, very terrible. They don't just want you to have peace. Yes, my mom used to tell us something. Then when we go to my eldest brother's house and we come back, we always have one or two complaints to make. And she will say, did they write letter to you to come to their house? If you know that, don't do it again. What she will say, don't trouble my son. Who is talking about your son? We are talking about the wife. She say if you troubled my wife, you
are troubling the son. That is
so leave my son. Don't go to that house again. They did write letter for you to come. Don't go to that house again. And that sent us a very strong message. And that is why today, you don't have my time. I don't have your time. I won't come to your house to come and be pork nosing. You won't come to my house to pork nose. Everybody did in your lane. So we must learn to maintain our lane. Don't cross the boundary. I have been in a situation whereby in marriage, for instance, on a Sunday morning, I prepared stew down. We went to church. By the time I came back, there was no single meat left in the stew. We have not even eaten from. I've been in a situation, I cooked soup, I went out. By the time I came back, the soup was so pepperish that I could not eat from the soup I cooked. Thanks to sisters in the house. Things like that. You cannot go to somebody's house and dictate the way they eat in their house. Even if she doesn't know how to cook. She has not died from eating that bad food that she's cooking. Your son too will not die from it. No, she will even die from it. That's his choice. Allow him to enjoy his choice. When he was making that choice, you didn't choose for him. He's his cross. You should allow him to carry his cross without interfering.
I'm also seeing it from the angle of mindset. Most times we just make some judgments, not because we've experienced it, but because of what we have seen or somebody close to us has experienced. In Africa, I had a friend who said her own mother was saying she does not pray to have a mother-in-law. So I said, okay, your son too, we know, I said, because what you're making happen, what happened is maybe because she saw how the mother-in-law treated. I said, the fact that it happened, so you see them going with war. I'm married to an Igbo man. My mother-in-law, she's about 98 now. And I'm like the last born. My husband is the last born. So I'm the last baby in the house. She tells me things. She wants something, she tells her daughter. I think we should mother-in-law should stop this thing of seeing every girl coming as a potential competition. Right. And then the daughter-in-law too, if you have a mother, just see that, okay, you're having another mother. Don't always think they will be evil. Everybody is not evil. Fine, we can't rule out the fact that we have some that are evil, some that are bad. But go with an open mind. There is nobody that cannot be treated with love. Even if the wicked person is wicked and you keep showing love, after a while we say, this girl said mean well, she's not as what I'm thinking. Because most of the things we do is preset, it's mindset. The girl is not showing anything bad, but we already believe every daughter-in-law is coming to snatch my son. He's going to snatch him. He will not make him to remember me again. So I think if we change our mindset, mother-in-laws today, this is our modern world. Like what Pastor said, that's the beautiful thing. Two mother-in-laws have become friends. I've heard of a case where an only son got married, and because of that, the mother was living with him. So the mother-in-law too will come. Both of them, she said, my mother-in-law lived in my house till she died. You could hardly say who is my real mother. And that is it. Nobody is perfect. But we should come with an open mind. Embrace everybody. Everybody has a defect. But love can cover a lot.
Thank you so much. And like you rightly said, I think there's a mindset, about it. Like literally every young lady, maybe because of things you've witnessed, stories you've heard,
read,
sometimes even the kind of movies
you watch
that we watch, from our own people too. We always portray the mother-in-law to be an evil,
a witch,
wicked witch, yes, and all of that. It's not so all the time, all right? Come with an open mind and be ready. Whatever it is that are the issues, then you tackle them head on in a very wise manner. Okay, somebody here is actually asking for advice and says, when you stay in a family house with your mother-in-law, who does not allow your husband to have time for you, and you have been married to this man, for 22 years, living in a face me, I face you, one-room apartment.
In family house.
Yes. Then she came back, I think, to recoin the question properly, and she says, is it right for a man to live in his father's house with his wife and kids for 22 years without any achievement? Ladies, how would you advise this person?
And it's one room.
In one room.
For 22 years.
22 years, and I think it's not even his father's house, so obviously the mother-in-law too resides in that house.
I guess he was just too comfortable. I'm not paying rent, right? But a lot has happened. That means he has stopped aspiring. He doesn't have visions. He doesn't have goals. It's not wrong to start from the family house, but it is absolutely wrong to remain there, and then you're not breaking new grounds.
For 22 years.
For 22 years in one room.
That's like a lifetime.
In one room. How are they doing it? Honestly, I can't imagine the mental health of that woman. And even the kids.
I think that woman married a very lazy man. Lazy physically, lazy mentally.
Mentally lazy.
And I always say that sometimes people can be physically lazy, but mentally intelligent.
Yes,
smart,
and active.
And that can help them to solve the physical laziness. Because if you're mentally smart and you're able to make money, you can employ somebody to do things that you could have done physically
with yourself,
yourself and all that. But when you are mentally lazy, no matter what you even do physically in terms of physical strength, you cannot be able to put it together. You can't make something good out of it. That man does not have a thinking cap. He cannot even think. That is why he could live in his father's house, married,
in one room
for
22 years.
And he's feeling comfortable. He's probably doing a money lane, but maybe it's the father that owns the house, maybe.
I can't even begin to imagine what that
woman has been through a lot.
I say that once you're married, I don't see it as a good thing that a married man
married to the family.
We remain the family house. I'm thinking that has always been my opinion anyway. By the time you're getting ready you're even matured enough to marry, please leave your family house.
Even if it's a room. It's a room.
Even if you have to squat.
Yes, but outside the family house.
Outside the family, before you go and rent a house. If you want to marry, you can't marry and remain in your family house. You are marrying a family wife. You don't even have the right to tell your family not to control you and your wife.
Of course.
Because you're under their roof. You are still their child.
You eat their food.
Yes, both you and your wife, you are their child. And for a woman too to also marry a man that's still in that family house, in that sense, I'm thinking that woman too was not thinking right. You see, there are what we call red flags.
Red flags.
Those are red flags in relationship. That a boy that wants to marry you still lives under the roof of his parents. Those are things they will discuss in premarital.
Yes. How are we going to remain here after marriage, or what are your plans should have been discussed.
Yes.
But like in this age where it's photo shoots and everything that preoccupy their mind, no planning for the future. Yes, because the red flag. Yes. You will have asked him, okay, you are saying your parents, how many years are we going to stay here? They should have discussed that. But I believe it wasn't discussed.
It's not even about how many years.
No.
Whatever. Before the marriage.
That's what I'm saying. Before marriage, in premaritals, they should move. Even if it is with a friend or in that same one room. You can live in one. I've seen somebody who lived in one room for 20-something years. By the time they will move, they got their own building. There's no harm in it, according to your pocket. But not in family house, where it is family food. She doesn't even have a say about what she cooks for you. It is what they cook in the kitchen, and then she end up, especially in some sect tradition where it's our wife. There's one that you see they ask the wife to kneel down, that they came late for family function and all that. No, that woman has lost. She can't be respected. Her mental health has been dealt with for 22 years. That man should wake up. So like she's asking for advice. She should call the man. Let them sit together and pray. There is not late. Anytime when you wake up now, your morning. If you wake up by 12 noon, it is your morning. Yes, but let her call the man. If they are Christians, please pray together. Whatever is blocking his vision should be removed. Let's sit down. Is this how we are going to continue? Because the children too will end up living in that place, and they won't see anything wrong in it.
If they start having children immediately, the children will be adults by now.
Yes, now.
I think their priority now should be getting out of
that place. That's the first thing.
Because she's asking for advice.
Yes.
Your priority now should be
get a place
out of that house. Discuss with your husband, and both of you must, as a matter of urgency, move out of
that place. That's the first thing for them.
Okay, so you didn't leave a name or a location, but I hope you're watching, and that should ginger you, on what next to do about the situation. All right. So away from mother-in-law etiquette, I mean, we cannot finish this matter of mother-in-law.
It's a recurrent issue.
There's always one.
Once there is marriage.
Or the other. Except you've never been married before, you would have experienced mother-in-law one way or the other, or except maybe you didn't have a mother-in-law to begin with. Okay, so but if you did, one way or the other, you would have experienced that. But then let me tell you, there are very good mother-in-laws there.
Oh,
very, very good ones.
I am telling you.
Let us not run with that narrative that every mother-in-law is a witch. She's evil and all that. Please go into the marriage with an open mind. She is like a second mother to you. Okay, so open up your heart for love, and you will be loved right back.